This is the Segovia Show.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Segovia Show podcast. Just drinking some water here. Hope your Monday was better than mine, because it's been non-stop phone calls and some technical issues that I had to deal with that I was none too happy to find out that were not resolved by the Verizon reps when I had it done in the first place. I'll probably talk about that separately in a more tech-centric episode, because I got a lot of tech stuff to talk about, including like social media things and my behaviors on those, because the dynamics are shifting just a little bit, especially with the Twitter, or the Tweety bird is gone now. Now it's X. But that's neither here nor there. I'm recording this at the end of a Monday. I hope your Monday was better than mine. July 24th, 2023. And I normally don't date my podcasts, but I have a question to pose to all of you. And if you tune in on Spotify, you'll be able to participate in the poll or the Q&A that I have down there, where you can weigh in on this. And I'll just ask it front and center here. Should I incorporate politics into my podcast? For those of you that have been around the longest, you would know that whenever I talked primarily about politics, especially elections, I resorted to my often mentioned, but not so much lately, Off the Record podcast, which is exclusively over on locals.com, and it is making its way over to members only on Spotify and YouTube. Maybe soon on Rumble too, but you can join Locals from Rumble, make it easier there. So on Locals is where, it's unfiltered, uncensored. I'm comfortable doing that there because I'm not worried about being silenced, shadow banned, or throttled by the big tech companies, because it's not on there. But also I'm inviting people to come have the conversation. But it almost seems like I need to bring the conversation to you. And I hate politics. I was a political activist in my early years, and it's those confrontations. I don't like it when I'm confronted, so that's why I don't do it. But lately now, it seems like some people need to be slapped around silly so they can be told, like, yo, get it through your head. No, things are not the way you think they are. That's just how the way it feels like. That's how the way it is right now. It's pretty nuts. And even in the Republicans / conservative sphere, there's a lot of infighting going on right now because the whole Trump DeSantis thing going on. Trump is rising, DeSantis is sinking. But that's not something I'm trying to weigh in on this one, but it's just giving you a teaser of things that I can talk about, because I've talked about them before. And I talked about it on my Off the Record podcast, but I haven't done an Off the Record episode about current events for quite a while. So whenever I talk about economic policies that affect real estate or the state of tech and the way it's draconian measures that are, tech actually carries out the draconian measures of the government's bidding. That's all fair game for me. But like to specifically talk about politics and political issues and the like, that I don't know. What do you think? Should I bring it to the forefront, or should I make it a segment of my life section here on the podcast, more streamlined for you? Because if I do that, I know for a fact that, as YouTube has been doing a lot, those of you on YouTube will not see or hear it. So that's why I recommend you follow me across the socials at the Andre Segovia on Twitter, X, whatever it is, _ Andre Segovia. But I got that in mind, and I feel like I must, but I really don't want to do it. It just also feels that there are people that need to hear it. So that's where my thought process is coming from, which is why I front-loaded the questions about all this. This episode is more like, I think it's more for me than it is for any of you. I feel like I have to vent a little, which I hope you don't mind, because the insurance crisis have been pretty gnarly here in California. But Uh, our fleet of vehicles, because Allstate was leaving and the policy was up by mid-July. I got to tell you, it came down to the wire shopping for insurance for almost 3 months, and I was using 3 different brokers, 2 of which I worked for a couple of decades with, and another one was a newer one that I only just recently established contact with. And there's a 4th broker that I didn't want to rope in at the last minute because no, it's too late for any of that. But the insurance crisis is real. Allstate is one of those major partners or major insurance companies that is leaving California. And it was leaving us up in the air. It's like there were no insurance companies that wanted to what is called write insurance for construction companies in our space. So we finally found one, and not really a company I ever heard of, but there were some bigger companies that are still around that they did quote us, and at the very end they got cold feet and said no. Say, oh, you do this kind of work? Duh, we're a construction company. It's in the name. And so they're like, oh, in that case, no, it's too high risk. So no, we're not gonna write you. Like, dude, you whatever. The next one over is the homeowners insurance stuff. That's the thing I got to do for the property management side because they're going to be up for renewal pretty soon. And I haven't seen the letters come in about non-renewal notices, but I wanted to get ahead of the curve on that because there's some insurance companies that are not renewing in certain high-risk areas due to fires and all that. So we'll see how that all turns out. But folks, the insurance crisis is real. And I don't know how that's really gonna pan out for a lot of people that are still in the real estate space buying property, because the only way to close escrow is to have insurance. And for those of you that are in my profession, when it comes to the buying and the sell side of the properties, I want to hear from you if you're tuning in. How has the insurance crisis affected your transactions? Because it is a very important piece of the puzzle there, where if you don't have insurance, you can't close on the escrow. The escrow is demanding you have insurance because the only way title can be issued. If you don't have title, you cannot close escrow. And title's the one holding the funds at the end of the day, not escrow, for the disbursements. Like, okay, escrow creates the balance sheets and then title does the disbursements. But if they're not satisfied by having homeowners insurance, they are not going to close it. So there's a lot there, with the insurance companies that are leaving, with other insurance companies not renewing. And then those that are still in the mix are looking at super expensive insurance. I mean, I got to tell you, my homeowner's insurance that I renewed about 3 months ago, I paid about $1,500 for that. There is someone that lives not too far away from where I live. I would say about 10 to 15 miles away in a different region in the county. And they're more in the fire because they have a larger lot too, but they also are in a region that's more prone to wildfires. Well, I gotta tell you, their homeowners insurance just got renewed at $11,000. Like, oh crap! Like, if you were paying $1,500 to $2,000, $11,000 is still insanely high for you to have to pay out. And when you're on a fixed income, it's even crazier. So I got to tell you that this whole insurance thing is not getting enough play out there, and it is affecting homeowners. And man, the cost of living is already very high. The wife and I were balancing the numbers and just shocking how much more expensive food really gets. I mean, yeah, you're paying more when you're going to to the checkout. But if you sit down and actually see on a monthly how much money you shell out on food, it starts becoming more real. So that's what we try to do every now and then, and we haven't done it in a while. So we checked and like, that can't be, man. That's a ton of money. So we have to find ways to bring that down. So back to meal prepping is going to be for me, because I got a meal prep, that's for sure. Some people ask me, Andres, what'd you think of Oppenheimer? Oh, when are you going to go watch Oppenheimer? I wish I could tell you when I've been so busy trying to put out fires, figuratively speaking, because there's just so much happening, and the insurance thing coming down to the literal wire was just bonkers. Like, I was shopping for 3 months and it came down to the wire. And if you have your own insurance stories, and by all means, contact me via social media and take your pick at the Andres Segovia across everything. And for those on Twitter /X, whatever it is, Twitter X, That's underscore Andres Segovia, because we can only do 15 characters. But yeah, you can let me know there. You have an insurance story of your own. If you're a small business owner, how this is affecting you. It was affecting our fleet of cars for sure, or trucks, that is. And I can imagine what it's like for others that are going to have a harder time trying to make ends meet. Because sometimes it does feel like you're only working for insurance. When you're a company dealing in California, you have your workers' comp, your general liability, your automotive liability insurance, the umbrella insurance policy, the marine inland policy, depending on whether you have some watercraft if you need it, and then lastly the bond on the insurance and all that stuff, and your license. It's just, yeah, it's a lot. Not to mention that every single city that you work in, you need an individual city license and then a tax on that. Yeah, Los Angeles. Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's where I'll leave it. Just want to keep this one a little short, letting you know what's been happening in the background. For those of you that are on YouTube, mostly Rumble though, I am putting up a redux of certain episodes because of a larger audience now that wasn't around for it, of conversations that are still worthwhile. They're not timed or dated, so I'm reposting them. For those of you that tuned in to my What is Truth episode, I really appreciate you all, because I thought it was an excellent conversation that still applies to over a year later since I had it. So for those of you that liked it, that shared it, I appreciate you. And that's it. Thank you very much for tuning into this latest episode of the Andres Segovia Show podcast. I'll see you in the next one.